For the Killer by David Fincher. I'm going to keep saying his name because I'm just so happy. And Netflix needs to do a better job in promoting The Killer because it's a David Fincher film, like they did with Mank. Hey everyone, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing the new David Fincher film, The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender. Listen, David Fincher is back, baby. This is the Fincher I love, this dark noir crime thriller that we get to see with Michael Fassbender, who has a great month, even though my Next Goal Wins review is kind of rough. He's back. Fassy's back and better than ever. And I missed him. He was fantastic in The Killer. He's so good. So now I'm going to start off by saying that I love David Fincher. I love him. Okay. If I gave my top 3, which I'm going to do at the end of this video, it doesn't have Mank. My top 3 does not have Mank. That's the first thing I got to say. When that came out, it is technically well made. I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that he made this, but Fincher is extremely talented. I love all of his films, except for Mank. But I think he just taps into the psychology of characters extremely well. You kind of feel like you're in their mindset early on in the film, and Fincher's very capable of just making you sit there with the most unlikable, challenged character, especially watching Fight Club. Like, you feel like you're in that grimy place, and it is one of my favorite films ever is Fight Club. Like, it just takes you there. It still haunts me to this day. Like, Tyler Durden still haunts me to this day. It is incredibly well made, but you still have that sense that, like, you want to see where these characters are going to go, even though they're so unlikable. And I love that. Creates this atmosphere early on in the film. That is the beauty of David Fincher. It is so grim and bleak and dark. And you have the killer, Michael Fassbender. He just sucks you in early on. He really does. So for The Killer by David Fincher, I'm going to keep saying his name because I'm just so happy. And Netflix needs to do a better job in promoting The Killer because it's a David Fincher film, like they did with Mank. So Michael Fassbender plays this killer. He has no name. And we are sitting there at the beginning of this film for a good, I'd say, 10 minutes. And there's this internal dialogue that we hear while the killer is seated in one apartment across the street. And it's kind of like a Rear Window, Alfred Hitchcock-esque visual here, where you're in the mindset of the killer and he's on a job. He's on a mission. He's trying to assassinate someone. So I really liked the visuals there. And it's just very quiet. Right off the bat, you have incredible sound design. Sound mixing is incredible in this film because if he's talking, you're hearing it inside, and then he'll go do something, it'll cut off, and you hear the sounds from outside. And then you'll go back to the internal dialogue. And then if he's talking to someone, that'll cut off and switch to something else. Or like the music is in his ear. Okay, that's the most important part, that he wanted to play around with this. So you have music that he's listening to calm himself down. He sets his Apple Watch or his Fitbit, whatever he has. You hear those sounds as well. But the internal dialogue keeps flipping, and it's incredible. So even the music, he's listening to it. It's nice and loud when we are looking through the window to the other side of the apartment. It's nice and loud. He's in his zone. And then when it goes back into his own apartment room, the music is a bit lower. And then his internal dialogue kicks in. This is where the sound editing is incredible. And I hate that it is one category now at the Oscars, because the mixing and the editing are two very different things, and they're very important here in this film. Played around with it, and I love that. So you have the music coming in and out, louder, softer, his internal dialogue, talking about things that are just so obscure, and they're funny. They're funny. He talks about assassination. He talks about everyday life. He talks about how people operate. And you won't catch all this on one viewing because you want to hear what he has to say. It's very important stuff. He is a very calculated person. When you see that he's going to assemble his gun, everything has a place for him. He's wearing gloves. He has a certain shirt that he has to wear. He has to set everything up so he calms himself down enough to take the shot. So when he goes to take this shot, a day has passed. He's sitting there. You're sitting with him. So he's there to take the shot. He never misses. From that moment forward, he's on the run. Now, there's someone after him. I won't get into the details with that one, but the person that's after him sets everything off, sets everything in motion for Michael Fassbender, who doesn't even utter 2 words. He looks incredibly menacing, and majority of the situations he gets into are very unexpected. It's very unpredictable film, and I loved every second of it. It's really, really strong. One of Fassy's best performances, I have to admit. I never even would have thought that Fassbender could work with Fincher, but that is a match made in heaven. I'm not saying he's not a great actor, can't work with Fincher, but I didn't even think that there could be a movie that they could work on together, and this was perfect. Everything is meticulous. Everything is calculated, and it's just chilling and dark, and you're just sitting there wanting to know what else this man is capable of. Andrew Kevin Walker created an amazing screenplay that was so intriguing, because the deeper we got into this story and who the killer had to track down and find and what he had to do to get the things done, incredible stuff. He has his own mantra. A part of what he says is that he can't improvise. You can't let your emotions come out. There's no empathy. You can't show that. You can't improvise. You just have to adapt to the situation. There's a lot that you can learn from the killer and to apply it in your everyday life, except for the assassination. Except for that, please know that I mean, except for the assassination. The dialogue is constant. The internal monologue is constantly there. And that's how you get to know the character without him actually having any exchanges with people. So I think that was really interesting. But man, the standout here, the sound design, the song choices, all very important. One of my favorite Fincher films. It's a lot of fun to watch. The only thing that I wanted to give it a 5 out of 5. I really did, because I was vibing. Just Fincher films are just vibes. It's a certain vibe. Some people don't get it, because you have to have a bit some darkness up there. You do, to enjoy his thrillers. You really do. The ending I didn't like. I felt like it was rushed. It didn't really make sense with who he was as a character. I wanted a bit more from that. I loved everything with Tilda Swinton. I thought that was genius writing there. I thought it was fantastic. But the ending just, I don't know, it left me feeling a bit off. I won't spoil that either, because it's questionable. But this is broken down into I think 5 or 6 parts. It's easy to follow. Fincher tells you the next step where he has to go, but it's all just very unexpected. I loved everything. The action was great. The execution was flawless, I think, and everything that the killer had to prep was extremely well done. So I gave The Killer a 4 out of 5. I think everything was calculated, a return to form for David Fincher. I was very happy that we got something like this from him, because he is one of my favorite filmmakers. He's great. Please, I'm sorry about Mank. I'm so sorry. I don't hate it that much. He's still one of my favorite filmmakers. So if you guys enjoyed The Killer, let me know in the comments below. It will drop on Netflix November 10th, so make sure to watch it. But also, to get the full effect of that sound design, if you can find it in theaters near you, please watch it. So good. Let me know what your favorite Fincher film is down below. I'll give you guys my top 3. It's obviously Gone Girl in number 1. I was obsessed with that book, and that movie is absolutely flawless to me. I have 7 in number 2. 7 was a movie. I think it's one of Brad Pitt's best performances. It was so good. That story is so well written, and it's executed to perfection. I love the noir detective duo, even with Morgan Freeman, just so good. And then my third one's obviously Fight Club. That movie I watched when I was very young, traumatized me for the first time. I stayed up until 2 a.m, and then I went to bed in the dark, and I thought that Tyler Durden was sitting in the corner of my room. Most people would be like, wow, Brad Pitt's sitting in the corner room. Me? No, absolutely terrified. I was terrified of Fight Club. That really got into my head. But that's what David Fincher does best. So if you guys enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMXND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And if you guys want to help me grow this wonderful channel, you can find out ways to do that in the bio below. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.